We're on.
Fabulous. Excellent. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to one of our other bite-sized webinars. It has been an extremely hot week so far, so I hope you've all survived by eating loads of sugar-free iced lollies. You will see we are minus a person on the panel today. He was last seen going out for something to eat last week. And word will have it that he is currently selling PPE out of the back of his car in a market. Yes, we haven't got Will Murphy, but I am absolutely thrilled to say that we're joined by Jag. Hi, Jag. And that chap with the dodgy beard, he's still with us, Mr. Carl Horton.
Hello.
Right, guys, we're just going to have another chat slash whinge. So Carl, let's start with you. How's your week gone?
I knew you'd ask me first.
I know. Those.
I have to kind of remember now. Well, yesterday was a little bit warm, wasn't it?
Yeah. Last night was.
Yeah. Wasn't it just? I was, you see, normally I'm absolutely fine with the heat. In fact, I actually really enjoy it. I quite like it. I look forward to it. But for some reason, last night I was uncomfortable. Well, probably because it was hot. And I heard a rumor. I was at Malvern, and this lovely lady came in with hair that matched a uniform that matched a water bottle, and said, "I've just had to put some ice in one of the chaps' ice t-shirts that he's wearing." And I was like, "Ice? What's an ice shirt?" Yeah, and then she started, and she was explaining to me that you, Jag, had a shirt on that you can put ice into it so it cools you down.
Wasn't Jag.
It wasn't
alone. And
I was getting enticed. I thought it was something real.
This is real that one of them did. But
really?
I'm playing. It's not you. I'm playing.
Well, I think I was struggling so much last night that looked good to sleep in. Sounded good to sleep in.
These what some folk do. There's little panels.
In terms of work again. Just inundated with consultations, and it's really hard. I'm still, still trying to figure out why it is, whether it's a repercussion of people having all the extractions rather than the usual care. I know that we've seen a few that have had teeth taken out during lockdown because there wasn't any alternative for them, and they've popped in because they don't like the idea of the space. Some of those were front teeth. So we've seen certainly a busy consultation process. Again, the scanning people where we're sending them for scans are up and running. Jag, your place running really nicely.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that in a bit more detail if that's all right in a little bit.
But
in terms of
I was just going to say with the consults, do you think it's just because people are like furloughed and they've got loads of time? So now, if we've all got busy lives where we can't get time to do the stuff we need to do, but now they're furloughed, and it's like, let's go.
Do you know what? Yeah, I mean,
and they're not spending their money on holidays, maybe abroad.
Yeah, you may. Yeah, but you could be.
Yeah.
I mean, when we've had recessions in the past, because we've been, I'm old, so I've lived through a couple. You do see that people tend to spend on themselves more in recessions and things that make them feel good or make them better. Yeah. And you see that they spend that rather than in sort of spending on investments or superfluous things, they'll spend it on sort of beauty products and retail therapy. So you actually see this kind of upspend in things like that, and implants is one of those things that I think probably fits into that category, because it does make people sort of feel better about themselves when you replace a missing front tooth.
It just change lives.
Yeah, well, it certainly does that. Yeah, I mean, we've had some big cases where we've made some big differences recently, haven't we?
We have indeed.
One at your place, actually, mate. That's ticking along quite nicely. So I'll be looking forward to.
Yeah, I'm in awe of that one. I'm looking forward to seeing that one.
Yeah. So we've, in fact, again, another thing that we've had a big uptake on are the full arch implant cases. So they kind of came in dribs and drabs, and it was almost like a little bit of a roller coaster. You'd get 1 or 2, then you'd have a little bit of a dry period, and then you might get 4 or 5. But I'm seeing probably about 3 or 4 a week at the moment of those cases coming in, and some of them are dual arch, which is incredible. So it's going to be difficult sort of fitting those ones in, but we'll manage it. But new practice that we visited, which was an interesting practice, which had sort of an operating theatre kind of setup, very nice setup indeed. So again, a bit more of an uptake on those. We've got a new guy working with us as well that was sort of welcomed in. The education thing has calmed down a little bit because they're all obviously on half term, but that'll pick up again. So teaching wise, that's just sort of taking a break. Am I talking too much, Kate? Boring you? No,
just having a
that's Jim, by the way, Jag. She's
is it? Is it?
Gin, yeah.
I was worried about having a drink beforehand.
And
just drink during it.
Yeah.
And then in terms of sort of some of the new tech coming out, there's been a couple of new things that we've been having a little play with, and that's gone well. A couple of hiccups. So a couple of little scans that we took, the scan bodies were a little bit difficult for the labs to use, but it's a learning curve. Sometimes these things is all new technology. And talking about new technology, I'll pass back over to Kate because that was my week. And then
smooth.
Yeah, thanks.
That was smooth. Yeah, you know, particularly. I mean, your practice is fantastic for so many reasons, and you have an amazing team.
Yeah, I'm very lucky.
You are very lucky. You also have had the addition of 2 toys, I think, over the last 6 months. One of which I've already explained to you that if I worked in your practice full time, you wouldn't get a stitch of work out of me because I'd be watching it. Can you talk us through the 2 items I'm talking about?
Yeah. So is it 3? The CBCT. Is it CBCT?
Yes.
Yeah. So I had the Carestream 8100, the Carestream 3700 intraoral scanner, and the ZF milling machine. Literally had them delivered at just before lockdown, with the finance payments about to start. Just before lockdown, and Ben, my business partner, wasn't happy that I'd ordered so much. But it worked out all right. I mean, we managed to. The finance company were great. Got us, I think it was a 6-month holiday period.
Brilliant.
So it's all linked up to Exocad. So when lockdown happened, I just went to work and practiced scanning, designing crowns, bridges. You can't go back. I mean, like now we're prepping, scanning for crowns, designing them. It takes about 3-4 minutes to scan, 3-4 minutes to design a crown. You can mill a premolar in about 14 minutes, a molar in about 20 minutes. You lot saw, you saw me, the mill start. It's amazing. It's good because you can change it. Sometimes with the 2 crowns, you have sort of like a point contact, but really you want a nice broad contact. So you can change the contact. Patients love it because you come in 1 injection. My temporaries aren't very good.
Temporary. Temporaries.
Yeah, mine are temporaries. And they're just blown away. They're blown away. But it's especially good in this COVID period. They come in, they're only coming into the practice once. I'm happy with the cross-infection control in the practice, but you're always worried about their travel to and from the practice. All practices were good before the COVID. People are like telling us, you should wipe down after this, that. And it's like, but we were doing that pre-COVID. Everyone's copying the techniques the procedures we had before COVID. So it's nothing new. Do you know what I mean? It's
like everywhere's a dental practice all of a sudden.
Yeah. People telling us, what are you doing? It's like, well,
everywhere else.
Yeah. It's like we've been doing it for ages.
Yeah.
But yeah, the machine has been amazing. Like for patients, just I think it's good if you live a busy life, it's hard to take a afternoon off, let alone because you're not going to take an hour off work, are you? Because by the time you travel to a dental practice, there for half an hour, you're just going to go home. So you tend to take an afternoon off, and then for the crown fit, you come back and you have another afternoon off. So patients are blown away, just getting it all done in one day. It has been a bit of a learning curve. It has been a bit of a learning curve, but I mean now the fit. I mean, you've been using a scanner for a while now for the implants. I mean, you can't go back. At first, it's like everything just seems too complex. But it's all about getting a good workflow. Like with the scanner, the one thing I've learned is you freeze up the patient, take an X-ray while they're freezing up. You scan the mouth, or you get your nurse to scan the mouth while you do something important like look at Facebook, Instagram. So you let them scan the mouth, and then you prepare the tooth. But on the Carestream, what it allows, I'm pretty sure with all of them, is the tooth you've prepared, you can cut that tooth out the scan. So when you need to scan at the end, you're just scanning that one tooth. So it's just learning the workflow to speed things up. I mean, patients are just blown away by it. I mean, I did one like a 74-year-old, and she was like, "Oh, this CAD CAM is unbelievable." I was thinking, how do you know what CAD CAM is? Patients do know they do know about technology. And I said, a lot of them, you tell them about it, when I do the telephone triaging, and you tell them what you're going to do, like I'm going to scan it, going to, design it, mill it. A lot of them will read up about it before they come in. I mean, they're blown away. But I'm still like, some of my girls are just like, they still can't compute. They just say they don't understand how it does it, and it is crazy.
Phenomenal. It is phenomenal. I have got to admit.
Yeah, you've been using scan.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've got a few patients that sort of are listening in. So one of the way it works is instead of the gel and the sort of the impressions that they have for dentures and crowns, you use this sort of, the way I describe it is it's like a little camera, and it takes lots of little photographs of the teeth, and it turns that into a 3D image that the computers can see and understand, and then that image gets emailed, magically flows into your scanning machine, which then has the same material that we make the crayons out of, and then that scanning machine uses that information and cuts a shape that's the same shape as the shape that we've made on the tooth, and then does the outline, so it puts all the little grooves and the fine details in, and then that's effectively your new tooth, and then that gets glued on, and that takes as little as between 12 and as much as maybe 25 minutes from start to finish, which is, it's better than 3 weeks or 2 weeks or whatever it was.
But it's definitely more accurate because they need to understand.
The accuracy is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, because when what they're going to understand is when you take an impression, the impression can have distortions, and then that needs to be cast up in plaster. The plaster can have distortions, and then it's going to be made by hand. So that could have distortions. So there's 3 areas where you can get distortion, and the crown might not fit. But with this, because it's digital, there's less chance of any distortion and having I've all my crowns. I mean, I've probably done about 30 crowns on that machine.
Already? Wow, that's great.
Yeah. I've had no issues, but I mean, it's unbelievable. Like I had a patient come in. It's just different. It's just, I think we're only at the tip of the iceberg with what it can do.
Yeah.
I had a patient. I had a patient come in. She had crowns on the front. She broke one tooth off at the gum level. It was unrestorable. Nice lady.
She needed an implant.
I did offer her. I did. No, actually, I did offer. I gave her the option. She can have an implant, but she had a crown on the other tooth, and I said, "Look, what we can do, we can take that crown off." So I took that crown off, scanned it. We milled a bridge, took the broken tooth out, and fitted the bridge there. All done in an hour and a half. So she's come in.
I'll talk to you off air, mate.
You can tell me off. That's another one you could have had.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's not the only option.
A massive difference, Jag. I mean, even as you've said, during the COVID situation, the difference it's making for you, your team and your patients. So just imagine what it will be like when you're up and running even more, as in you're seeing more patients and things have been a bit more relaxed. I mean, it's going to be phenomenal, really.
Yeah, I mean, patients love it. I mean, it's the only good thing is we're slowly getting. It's all. You don't get any faster with the equipment. You just get a better workflow.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You can scan. You can probably scan a bit quicker, but you're only going. We're talking. You're saving 10, 20 seconds. Yeah. You're not saving. It's just getting the right workflow. I mean, we've had teething issues. You know, I did have one patient who I couldn't finish on the day. You know, and we had to. No, actually, we did finish on the day. I prepped it in the morning, but I had to get it back in the afternoon. There's certain stuff where, like, the machines had an the machine wasn't switched on. So when we went to mill the crown, the machine when it was switched on needed an update. So that took 15, 20 minutes. One of my girls wanted to wipe the machine because it looked a bit, when you wipe down, you get the swirl marks. She decided to wipe it down while it was milling, but it's a touch screen. She switched it off.
Oh no!
I won't mention which nurse it was. She knows who she is.
Oh, she knows.
When you were talking about that bridge, I think you might have mentioned this to me. Did you change the design of the Pontic as well? I think, which was something that you were able to do on the software.
Yeah.
So you were able to kind of create a Pontic so that you got a nice tissue form, so that it looked. If I remember rightly, I thought, yeah, well, that's really great that you can design that in the ExoCAD. I think was it the ExoCAD you designed?
Yeah. So what I did was with the bit of root left.
Yeah.
It was broken off gum level, so when I froze her up, I filed the tooth, the bit of root, to turn it into a Pontic.
Yeah.
Subgingivally. So with a high speed, it's easy to make a nice Pontic. So while the gums, it can only be a temporary bridge, but while it's healing up, it'll form a beautiful perfect Pontic site. And the other thing I managed to do was just reduce the incisal just slightly, so it's out the bite.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's like I said, it's just like I'm blown away. But the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. You still have to, it's not a case of you just do it. It is a learning curve, but there's so much you can do. Like I've done multiple crowns on there. I've done a crown and an onlay. It's absolutely amazing what that machine can do. It's like
brilliant.
It's absolutely crazy.
And your scanner, can you use that scanner for? Sorry, Kate. Can you use the scanner for ortho and other options and things like that?
No. So I've actually ordered another scanner.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah. So
does Ben?
So basically, So my other practice, we got an iTero scanner, and I got a good deal on that.
Yeah.
Because they do a fair bit of Invisalign. But with this practice, I went with the Carestream, because the Carestream with the CBCT and the scanner, there's no fees to pay at all for maintenance or software updates. With the iTero, it is quite expensive monthly. I think it's about £260 a month. So I went for the Carestream solely because I think we spent a lot of money. And I just about convinced Ben that we're going to have that on finance, and he would have just beaten me if I said there's a software fee we're going to pay every month. So I went with the case. I'm happy with it. It's good. I mean, there's little things like, but I've ordered an iTero as well. Because I've got 2 dentists who do Invisalign, and iTero are the only ones who'll accept it. But there is a good link up with the iTero now, where the iTero have bought exocad. Now, exocad is the software I use to design the crowns. So, and they've just had a link up with DSD, the Digital Smile Design.
Yeah.
So I'm actually speaking to him tomorrow. So there's a link up with the iTero there. But it's all I think a lot of the scanners out there are good. But when I was buying a scanner, it's not like buying a car where you can read or you can test drive, because I knew nothing really about it until you get it. Then you realize the pros of having it and the slight cons of having it. It's not cheap. It's not cheap. It won't make you money in the short term, but it will change the way you work, and for the better.
Do you know, I think that's what it's about, isn't it? I don't think that this is an investment that is going to bring money into your practice. So in terms of a business investment, it's not. But in terms of a patient care investment, it's massive. I think that's massive. And in terms of kind of like you can either cycle to work or you can get driven to work.
Yeah.
Neither of those I do. But if I had a choice, it would be nice to be driven to work. And I think that's how I kind of see the difference between the digital side of things. Because when we're scanning the patients, you can see them kind of engage in the scan a lot more.
Oh, they love it. They look at when they see their mouth. When they see them, sometimes it's hard sometimes with patients, because sometimes you say to a patient, "Oh, you need a crown," and they're like, "Oh," you can see they're not like. It's not that they don't believe you, but it's like, you feel a bit awkward. But when you have the scanner, and it's like I do the workflow I do, like I scan the mouth, and it might be like an upper 6 where they can't see, and they see a massive cavity or they see a massive amalgam broken. They're like, "Oh my God, that's my tooth." And it's like, yeah. And they can see. It just gives them sort of reassurance, that
it's a very visual thing, isn't it? And that's it's a big help, I think, when you can actually visualize. Yeah. Especially when it's direct.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, with the patient care, the impressions, they can gag on the impressions. It's a lot easier to have a scan. And then also, the other thing is, if we've got a scan of the mouth, if anything happens in the future, we've got a scan of the mouth. Like, we could print a model out. We can print a model out, and if we could do a big composite build-up, we can print the model out, make a stent to do a big composite builder. There's loads of things you can do. I think, like I said, I'm only at the beginning. You've been using it longer than me. I'm only at the beginning, and it's just like every week I'm learning something new to do. I had somebody come in, like I said, I've done multiple crowns. Somebody came in, he wasn't happy with his teeth, so we booked him in to have 2 veneers on the day, and he was like blown away.
Brilliant.
I'm not surprised. So are you letting any of your colleagues play with these toys, Jag, or you?
Yeah. The problem is I didn't want anybody else to use it, because we had a lot of teething problems. No matter how good a system is, like just simple things like, the Wi-Fi dropping. So, if the Wi-Fi drops, it stalls a bit. So even in this day and age, so when I'm designing the crown, as a matter of due course, I just plug it straight into the internet.
Yeah.
So it only drops now and again, but if you do that, it prevents any problems. But I wanted to be quite slick at it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be teaching something if I don't know what's going on. And little things. I was just going to say, just little things like the milling machine. that disconnecting, but it's just a simple button to connect it. But when you're there thinking, oh my God, what's happened? It's quite scary.
Yeah.
But I've had one of the dentists, Gurry, he's used it on 2 patients, and the patients loved it, and he's blown away. I just think you're not going to earn. It takes longer than doing a crown and then sending it off to the lab and getting the crown back. So unless you charge a lot more, so you're not going to earn more money from it, but it's just a different sort of way of life. I mean, you don't even know what endo is these days.
Don't believe in that. Take it out.
You take it out. But like I can say, it's from when I went from hand file to like wave 1.
Yeah.
It's
I used to use wave 1. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a no. When was the last time you did endo?
Oh, you're talking about 10 years ago.
Decade. It must be last decade.
I think they brought it out. It wasn't even disposable files in those days.
Yeah, but it's just
it wasn't even BSE.
Yeah, but yeah, oh yeah, that's when single use, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just
actually just used to lick 'em.
Yeah. I when I qualified,
sorry, that's
I was just saying,
I used to get the nurse to lick them.
Oh, stop it! Go on, Jag.
But 2001, when I qualified, I remember like how stuff has changed. Like we had an autoclave in the surgery. All these young dentists who want everything perfect don't remember what it was like when we had an autoclave in the surgery. Do you know what I mean? I mean, that seems archaic now. You're treating a patient while you've got an autoclave going.
And you'd maybe have your composite or your anaesthetic on top to warm it up. So
to warm it up. Yeah. But yeah, I think this digital is honestly, it's like you're not going to earn money straight away. Like you're not going to earn more money. I think you're going to lose money initially, getting to grips with it, and it is a steep learning curve. But there's just so much you can do with it. Like I said, I did that temporary bridge. I wouldn't be able what are the options for that? I mean, a denture next day, book her back in for an immediate implant. But that's something you're not going to, the immediate implant, look how busy you are. You're not going to get that the next day.
No. You've got to go through consent and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to go everything properly. You might even want to scan, So you're going to give her a denture first, possibly in Maryland. But the machine also makes Marylands as well, temporary Marylands. It's crazy. And even if it breaks, you've still got the scan. So if the patient say it breaks, you can then mill another Maryland. So when the patient's up, you take the old Maryland off with the tungsten carbide and glue the second one on. But
far easier to keep a scan than it is the actual models.
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean,
just have a room dedicated just to keeping models.
Yeah. I used to work in practices that did a bit of ortho, and you'd have a dedicated, shed full of plaster models and everything.
I mean, the new age thing was sending the models off to be scanned. Yeah, that was the new techie way of doing it. Oh, it's all right. I can dispose of my models now. And the people, that was when you could throw away your models, but now you have to have a designated container for it, waste container for it. But that's I do ortho, and we make the retainers on site. But I have to. That's why I had this model scanned, because if they ever needed a retainer, I'd get the model printed by a lab and the retainer made. But now I've scanned the mouth, we can just print the model off in-house and make a retainer in-house.
So you've got the milling machine, you've got a 3D printer as well?
Yeah, I've got a 3D printer.
So it's 4 things, because you've got the CBCT scanner, you've got the intraoral scanner, you've got the milling machine, and you've got your 3D printer.
Yeah.
So you're fully digital then, from start to finish, an absolute full workflow.
I would say I've got all the gear, but no idea.
I tell you one thing that has changed for us, and is the CBCT machine, because
yeah.
that helps a huge amount when we're trying to help patients out. And in fact, we were working yesterday at your sister practice, and we've referred a couple of patients over to you guys, because that's the big thing, is that a lot of the patients that we see are elderly. They don't want to travel too far.
They don't want change.
No. And so actually having one somewhere local that they can get the scan taken. This scan is, I mean, we never used to do it. It's like the autoclaves in the rooms. You never used to do it, and hope that it didn't go wrong. But why do that when you can be really accurate and minimize the risk completely? I mean, you want as less risk as possible. It's hairy enough anyway doing that.
Yeah.
So I mean, to be able to do that is at the time that you're doing your consultation, and then again show the patients visually where the bone is and where the sinuses are, where the nerve is. Fantastic. Absolutely.
The patients don't have to travel, but I think the other thing is patients, you can explain everything to them, and a week later they forget everything. But they're actually having the scan there. But it's true though, isn't it? You can have a treatment plan, and they just forgotten the whole procedure. They're like, so you're like, oh, we're going to place an implant. We'll get you back in to remove the stitches. 3 months later, we're going to, take impressions, and 2 weeks after that, you can have a crown. So they'll come back with the thing signed and the consent and treatment plan signed. So you're going to place an implant, and I'm going to have the tooth on it. It's like, no. But with a CT scan, you have it there, and patients, everybody's better when they've got something visual. You learn more when you got something visual. So having a scan there and explaining to the patient, it's just so much better. And some of them still don't understand what an implant is.
No, I know.
And when you get a scan, and you can say, look, that's the bone, and that's where I'm going to place it. And just simple. The other thing is with the scan is like bone defects. When you say you need a bone graft, when you get a big buccal defect on the scan, you can see it. Even a non-dental person can see where a tooth is missing, that the bone is shrunk away and it's not as high as really other places in the mouth. But in your cases, the bone's probably shrunken everywhere. I'm just a beginner, so I'm just doing the easy cases, and you're doing the more complex cases where there's no bone.
But you are right, visually it's fantastic for the patients to be able to see it, because there's that level of understanding when you can see it and you're listening to what's being explained. So I think they're fantastic. But
I mean, if some people won't understand what a milling machine and as a 3D printer is. So a milling machine is basically, it's like a block of porcelain. So we mill that down to get a crown or a bridge, where a 3D printer is actually, we're building something up from scratch. So we could be making like a plastic denture, a plastic temporary crown. So some people can't grasp what the difference is between a milling machine and a 3D printer. Some people think a 3D printer will 3D print a crown. It's not. It'll only mill plastic. So you can have it for temporary crowns, but you're not going to have it for a permanent crown.
They're working on it. They're working on it.
The stuff I hear through the grapevine is just like crazy. Like they're printing, like the route now is you print a model, then make a retainer on it. But there's talk that they're printing the retainer straight off, milling a retainer straight off. I know they can mill a soft bite guard straight off the bat. I think it's called. Somebody sent it today. Keysoft, I think Keysoft, something like that. So you don't even need a model. You just print the soft bite guard straight off the bat. I mean, with CBT and the 3D printer, the big thing for implants is guides.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. I went with the CareStream intraoral scanner and the CareStream CBCT scanner. It's because you can merge the extraoral scan and the intraoral scan together. So if people don't understand that, one's everything inside, like inside the tooth, inside the bone, and the other one's a scan of everything outside. So you'll merge them together.
So I'm assuming your goal then is that what you do is you walk in, you're going to have a chat with your patient, you're going to numb them up, you're then going to do what you normally do and go out the room while they're numbing up. I'm joking.
Yeah.
You're then going to prep your tooth.
No, numb them up, take the X-ray.
Yeah.
So are we talking about implants or crowns?
No, I'm talking about what I'm talking about in my head. This is where I'm visualizing your process. So you'll numb them up, you'll do the prep, and then what you'll do then is you'll go upstairs to get the Wi-Fi connection so that you can get onto Facebook while your nurse scans your prep, and then you've educated your nurse to then design it on Exocad for you.
Hi.
And then she'll do the milling.
Sorry, my 1 second, my battery's
Don't forget you're wearing. Don't forget you're just not. You're in your commando, mate. Don't forget.
Oh, there's not much to see. Yeah, carry on. Sorry.
No, I was just playing with you, mate. I was just playing with you. I was saying your idea is that you go in, you prep, and then everybody else does all the work for you. Then you walk back in again with this shiny printed crayon after 15, 20 minutes and go, look what I've made, and then fit it. But actually, you get the team to do all the scanning and the design and everything.
But you joke about that, but like I honestly think like the team, like honestly, like the girls, like are the more you give them. Because everybody's got assumption that dental nurses are dumb. You know, everybody assumes that. You know, honestly, like, they're amazing. The more you put into them, the more you get out. Like, mine are radiographically qualified. They can take impressions. So before the digital, my girls were taking all my impressions, you know, for crowns, bridges, you know, they were taking the impressions. And, you know, I'm actually going to send two of my girls so they're radiographically qualified so they can take the scans. So when you guys send them in, I don't have to do it. I can get the girls to do it.
And they'd enjoy that, Jag, I'm sure, as well. You know.
Yeah, no dental nurse wants to just sit there sucking saliva. You know, they want to be doing complex stuff.
You do have proactive nurses, though, Jag, don't you? I mean, we know your team, and as I said at the beginning, you do have a strong team, and they are fantastic. In our experience, when we've come in, they are just on the ball, but they're hungry for it. They want to know. They want to learn. They're fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, they like working with you guys because, like, you know, they're seeing, they're happy. I mean, we do a lot of stuff. I mean, like I said, we do the same day crowns. I mean, I do smile makeovers, you know, ortho, but you know, with you guys, it's another level. You know, they get to see full of.
Can you hear that? I'm being heckled. Sorry.
Yeah, they get to see full arch, you know, implant cases, and you know, where else would they see that? Not many nurses actually see that on a regular basis, and it's interesting for them. It's something different, you know, instead of seeing loads of patients every day, you know, a big session doing a full arch case is amazing to watch, you know.
Somebody wants V-Bucks, I think.
You fall for that?
No.
How much do you give? You need to say no.
Too much, mate, too much.
You're like, literally, you give it and it'll give you like a day's grace.
It's not right, is it? I mean, I'm still can't quite get my head around it. It's you know, it doesn't work in my world. But
yeah,
hey.
One of my nurses, you know her well. She gives away a lot on V-Bucks as well to her son.
I think I know which one.
Yeah,
I think I know which one as well.
Yeah. Right, guys, we're hitting. We've exceeded the marker.
I was going to talk about the Daily Mail, the wonderful WHO and Daily Mail article about how patients should stay away from dental practices, despite the fact that we are probably the safest place to be in. I mean, I can't quite get me. I mean, I understand maybe I'll just talk about it for a few moments. Maybe WHO have sort of put that out as a generalization for those countries who have got quite a high infection rate. Brazil, America, maybe. And maybe those people might not want to go to the dentists, and I can understand that. And they have to be, they're a World Health Organization, so they have to look at the world as a whole rather than the individual countries. But the Daily Mail have done us a yeah, I'm gonna stay. I've never read the Daily Mail and never really intend to.
But Carl, there was I've forgotten the dentist, and he had a webinar with dentists from all around the world, and none of the other dentists are doing what we had, where we had FFP3 masks.
Yeah,
we had them fit tested, wearing a full gown. Yeah, none of these. They're all wearing. Most of them are wearing the standard
normal, as we were prior to lockdown.
Yeah, they got patients in the waiting room. They might be distancing them, but nobody's doing what we're doing. In a way, I'm happy for the WHO to say that, because we are still snowed under. We are, we are.
Yeah.
I'm snowed under, and the worst thing is, like, it's gone. My day was really busy, and I've gone down to sort of like seeing, 4-5 patients a day. I don't know if it's the heat or I've aged a lot in the last 6 months, but I'm knackered.
Yeah.
I'm physically exhausted.
Well, I have this from Will and Carl.
Yeah.
I'm physically exhausted. Maybe I'm doing, like, in the lockdown, I'm doing more implant cases, and I'm not. Like I said, with each one, I'm still, like, quite new. Well, I've been doing it for a while, but I haven't got the expertise like Will and Carl. But I have to concentrate a lot, so I'm still finding it physically and mentally draining. End of the day, I'm knackered. I am knackered.
Daddy,
Do you know what I mean?
I need you.
Yeah. V-Bucks. Need some V-Bucks.
You pick that. He picked a black and he picked that white one.
Okay, go look after him then.
No, he needs to open the door.
Okay, I'm coming. Get Jeevan to open the door.
No.
Okay, get Simran.
Good job for Daddy.
No. She doesn't. It's my younger daughter. She doesn't get on with my eldest son because he's quite lazy. My other daughter was very good with her. So if I've asked her to get him, she was like, no, because she knows he'll never do it.
She's got a very cute voice, mate.
Yeah.
She sounds very cute. I don't know.
So are you? I was going back to. Are you knackered then at the end of the day?
Yeah, I am.
Like literally, I need something just to help me relax regularly now. Do you know what I mean? That's a
different webinar.
Yeah, we'll do that one.
I was just talking about a glass of wine. Yeah, honestly, I am shattered. It could be the heat. Like, this week was just absolutely like crazy.
No, we've had a few people on that said exactly the same thing, really. All the clinicians saying since we come back, absolutely shattered. There's a YouTube video, isn't there, of that guy that's talking about.
1 second.
And the little kid
I'll come in a few minutes. I think
we're close to that. We'll go viral.
Come here. Say hello, and then Daddy will come.
Say hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, you've got 2 new dogs.
Have you got 2 new dogs?
It's Mummy's birthday. It's Maxie.
Wow.
Maxie and
Has
Kana.
she had a big
time.
tank?
Bigger and smaller. There's only 4 of me.
But yeah, what were you saying, Carl? Sorry.
It's a common theme. Lots of clinicians are saying the same sort of thing. So I'm hearing lots of clinicians are saying they're really, really tired, and then I'm seeing lots of nurses that have got the marks and the bruises and the exhaustion from overheating and everything like that. It's well. I'm worried about when we go back to normal. Like, it's scaring me, like, how I'm going to cope with a full. I am. Like, you've seen how busy we are at Bewdley. Yeah.
I am really, really scared of, like.
So the Daily Mail have done you a favour then?
Yeah. I'm happy. I'm happy because it's like we are triaging patients and seeing all our patients, but we're still like. We're still. I suppose because we're a good sized practice that we've got a lot of patients that we're continually going to have patients in pain, broken teeth, swellings.
I think for me, it's not so much the patient numbers. that it might affect. It's the honesty, and I get riled when people say things that aren't true. So when they I suppose, well, they're based on what who said, so they're trying to base on fact. But what the underlying thing is sensationalism, that we're dirty places to visit when we're not. We're exactly the opposite. It's a very safe, very clean environment for patients to visit, and they don't need to be worried, and they don't need to be scared. And that's what irritated me about it, I think.
I agree with you. But what really annoys me is also when you go to like shopping and you see all the different masks, and it's like, Jesus Christ, like, where do they get these masks from? They've got, like, I saw a person the other day who had an FFP3 mask on, and it was blatantly the one that goes over the head, but he'd worn it round his ears. You know, at the beginning when the lockdown happened and I looked at getting FFP3 masks, you know, the disposable ones were like £30 each, £30-40 each. The best thing, you know, which is madness. I mean, it's just like, I'm grateful. Like, are you using a reusable one?
Yes, I'm using a combination. I've been fit tested on a few, so it depends on which practice I'm working in. But yeah, I'm using those. My preference is the reusable one, and I know that there was the concerns about hygiene and cleaning it down and all that, but I don't really have a major concern about that.
I think the issue was a lot of them people weren't cleaning the inside.
Yeah,
that's it's not just the outside.
No, you got to clean the whole lot.
You got to clean the inside of the mask.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy, I don't know if it was a horror story, the guy, when I went for the fit test training, he was talking about one person who didn't clean the inside and he had mushrooms growing in his lungs.
Oh.
So I don't know if, well, that's what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Magic mushrooms.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I don't think he was that lucky. But yeah, I am scared when we go. I know you're going to be scared because you're an implantologist and you like placing implants, but no implantologist likes restoring. You're going to have so much to restore.
I know, mate.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, we love placing implants, but restoring is just like nobody likes restoring, do they?
It's the actual doing it. No, when it's done.
Yeah. When it's and you're happy with it.
Yeah. But that technical move from indexing the implants to getting the lab back and provisional and then permanent and fitting it down and checking it. I love it. I love we're live, remember? I love it.
No, but you like the end result because from where you started, it is like the work you guys do is amazing because it is life changing.
We got
do you know what I mean?
Just before we came on air, we got an email from a chap that we'd looked after, and it actually blew me away. I wasn't expecting it. It came out of the blue, and it was something that people would regard as simple and straightforward. It was a single tooth that I'd looked after for him, and just out of the blue, nice little email, just saying really very pleasant things about how he'd felt and how wonderful the experience had been for him. And it's that kind of thing, really, that you just think this is why we do what we do.
It's nice. It's good to get that validation because sometimes you do the work, and sometimes you do this work day in, day out, and you're not on the other side, and you don't see. You do nice work, but you can't imagine how much it can change somebody's life. You do check. It can, just being able to eat, smile.
Yeah,
not worrying about a denture falling out. It is life changing.
Properly, they can go out and socialise. It has a massive impact.
Yeah. They can socialise more because they're not worried about a denture falling down when they're eating.
They can eat what they want rather than what they should. Or it's underrated. It's yourself, Greg, the work you do as well.
Yeah, I've been eating what I want in lockdown as well. My cheeks, they say the camera adds 10 pounds, but my cheeks look a bit, they look a bit big. So there's no way you can like the Instagram where you can change. Yeah. I should have asked if you lot could do that because it looks like I've got,
Yeah, we'll sort
Quite
that
big cheeks. Do you know what I mean? Bit more
Yeah.
hair.
Yeah,
Right.
it's not a problem. I'll put some filters on or something like that.
Right, guys.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Stop doing
All
your
right.
cracks now before we start talking about having all sorts of work done on your faces.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Jag, a massive thank you.
No, thank you for having us.
Must let you go and enjoy your wife's birthday, bless her. Carl, thank you as
Happy birthday to
always.
your wife.
Guys,
Pleasure.
hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Might be marginally cooler, but let's just hope the sun stays out.
Yeah. Well,
Brilliant.
have a good day, guys.
Take
Cheers.
care, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.